and a very, very warm welcome to you. This is Anne-Marie. If you've not joined me before, welcome. If you have, welcome back. So tonight we're going to do our usual 1 hour Pilates workout. As always, I'm starting the video just a couple of minutes early, just to let people get and find out that we're going, make sure they've got all their technology, their TV, their phone, their computer set up so they're all good. So just a reminder, I've not done this with any injuries in mind. Please listen to your body throughout the whole workout. All you need tonight is a mat. If you sometimes choose to have a cushion under your head when you're lying on your back, you'll need that. But if you don't normally have that, it's literally just a mat tonight, and a bottle of water if you want one, okay? But otherwise, hopefully, you'll have a really nice hour with me. Looking forward to it. Okay, so let's just start with some nice calming breathing, just while we're waiting for everybody to get ready. So if we start with a nice full and wide breath in for 4, 3, 4, and just hold that breath. 3, 4, take it out. 2, 3, 4, and hold it there. 2, 3, let's go again. In, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, take it out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, feeling that rib cage opening as you go in. 2, 3, 4, hold it there. 2, 3, take it out. 2, 3, 4, hold there. 2, 3, and again. In, 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2. Can we slow it down a little? In, 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3. Last time. In, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, and hold it. 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Okay, we're going to get going now, so I do hope everybody wants to join in is here. Okay, so we're just going to start as we always do with our alignment. Okay, so just making sure to start with your feet directly under your hips. So find those hip bones at the front, the pointy bits at the front of the hips, and just imagine a line, a plumb line going straight down. Your feet should be directly underneath. If it's comfy for you to do so, have those feet pointing straight forwards. For some of you, it might just feel better to have them slightly pointed out. It's just however works for you, but if it's comfy, point them forwards. Okay, we're just going to rock the body weight forwards and back. Just allow yourself to feel the movement through the feet. Feel the stretching of the muscles and the fascia, those kind of tissues around the outside that hold it all together. Just feel them having a little bit of movement and stretching. Really spread the toes. Lovely. And just coming up onto the toes. And while you go onto the toes, you're really getting a nice squeeze into your calves as well. Just getting that really tight little squeeze. Lovely. Okay, and letting that come to settle in the middle. And now if it's comfy again on your ankles, just roll your feet out and in. I always think it's nice just to make sure your feet are really where they should be at the start of the workout. Let's get ourselves really sorted with our alignment before anything else goes on, so that we feel like we're in a really good position. And letting them come to settle. So your feet should now feel like the weight is really settled into the middle, halfway between the toes and the heel, halfway from the inside and the outside. Just working up through the legs. Make sure the knees are soft. Don't be tempted to lock them out. Just let a little tiny micro bend in them, just so that you're actually controlling them with your muscles rather than locking out the joint. You've got some nice control into your posture. Moving up through into the hips. Imagine you've got a bowl of water in your pelvis, and you're rocking that bowl forwards and back. And as you rock it, the water falls out of the front, it falls out at the back. So you're just tucking the hips underneath and letting the bum kind of flare out at the back. So a bit of a duck bum at the back in both directions. And working through that range of motion. We've just had that lovely bank holiday weekend. I do hope you enjoyed it. It was a beautiful, beautiful weekend for VE Day. And it might have meant you've done just lots of sitting around and enjoying afternoon teas and all the like, which I did very much. It was great. But now, need to get back into moving. So letting that come to settle. So the bowl of water is really in the middle. No water will fall out because it's in a neutral position. There's no temptation to be tilted left or right either. Got a really central position, pulling up through the spine. So imagine a really long line from the bottom of your tailbone all the way up to the top of the spine. You're pulling, pulling, pulling. If somebody had a string out the top of your head, they could lift you up and you just got that sensation of lightness and stretching up through the spine. So the ribs are sitting directly over the hips. They're not flaring out, they're just nice, comfortable, relaxed. The shoulders, now the temptation is always up here or around here. Let's really work them forwards, up, back, down. Draw those shoulder blades down the back. The chest feels gently opened. Shoulder blades have a slight tension between them, so just a little bit of a line you can imagine down the middle of your back, just a little squeeze there. That will naturally turn your hands to point maybe forwards, in towards your legs or forwards, just to have that opening of the shoulders, opening of the chest. Still standing up tall, and the chin should be pointing kind of directly forwards, directly in front of you, the gaze looking ahead. And now we're in a fantastic, aligned, neutral, calm position. So from here, let's think about that full and wide thoracic breathing. So as you breathe in, if you want to, have your fingertips on your rib cage. As you breathe in, see how those fingertips move apart. Feel that sensation of movement, and then out. So it's a full and wide breath. We're not going for deep and held, just full, wide, really nice and calming. Should just completely chill you out, especially if you've had a manic day. Maybe you have been at work and it's been really manic, or just dealing with whatever's going on at the moment. Homeschooling, all these fun things. Let's just relax. Okay, and tonight I want you to think about your core contraction. What we're going to think about tonight is that analogy of a lift inside our body. We've got 10 floors on the lift. So on your next full and wide breath in, I want you to draw that lift all the way up to the 10th floor. So breathe in, draw it up, and there's tension. It's all tight. This core is really solid, absolutely solid. Okay, and release. Because that's too much to hold. It's too much to hold for a long period. So breathe in on your next breath in. We're just going to go to that 5th floor, 50% contraction. So breathe in, 50%. Just a gentle, still, still tension going on. But we'll release it. Okay, and this time we'll go for that 3rd floor. So breathe in, gentle tightening. You feel a gentle rib to hip connection. Tightening, you might feel the sensation of a little belt around your hips. But we're just drawing up that pelvic floor inside us, just kind of gently, 30%. And that's where we're going to aim to hold it as much as we can throughout our session. I will keep reminding you. All right, let's get some movement, guys. Okay, so we're going to start with some shoulder rolls. Make the arms big, opening out wide. Draw those shoulder blades down and back on the way down. So actually, even through the whole movement, my shoulders themselves are not raising. The shoulder blades are still pulled down the back, but I'm stretching my arms. I'm stretching across my chest at the front, really reaching tall, reaching wide, possibly getting behind your shoulders with your hands if that's comfy for you. But a lovely, nice, big, smooth, controlled movement. Fantastic. And from here, we're going to go to a move called dumb waiter. So dumb waiter, if you have your elbows in by your waist, feet still hip distance apart at this stage, and I want you to have your palms up, thumbs out to the side as though you've got a tray in front of you. And we're going to do one arm at a time. We're just going to take one arm out and in. So the shoulders are not kind of moving. I'm not rotating this position here. I'm holding my hips steady, holding my body steady, but I'm getting the rotation of this bone and the upper part of the arm, the humerus. I'm just getting the rotation into the shoulder joint. Lovely. Taking the thumb as wide as it will go, and this will really help to open out your shoulders. If you do find you kind of suffer with a bit, one of your arms turns in a bit, or you hunch quite a lot, it might just help to open that out and stretch that out. Lovely. And if we can go to both arms together, so open, and there's no rush. There's no rush. There never is with my workouts, or not with my Pilates workouts. If you've ever tried my other ones, sometimes there is. But in my Pilates workouts, we take it steady. This is at your pace. This is to help you to feel good, help your movements to be smooth, controlled, and working with your core contracted throughout. So you've got that gentle contraction getting movement where we need it. Last one. Oh, lovely. Right, now from here we're going to do a spiralling motion with our hands. So if you imagine you've got almost a light bulb in your hand, I'm going to screw that the little finger up through the centre of my body. I'm going to twist my upper body, look to the side, reach high, and imagine you're grabbing onto a cliff edge at the top with that arm. And from there I'm going to sweep it away. And the same on the other side. So little finger traces up through the middle of the body, twists at the top, imagine I'm grabbing onto a cliff edge, looking away, and sweeping it down. And we're just going to keep going with that movement, gently and gradually increasing the speed, but just making it a little bit more fluid. So we're getting some twisting through the body, and we're going to go a little bit quicker so that it's a continuous flow. So as one arm goes down, the other one goes up, and it's just almost kind of a bit like a swimming-y kind of thing, where you're continuously moving and twisting and twisting, getting rotation through the spine, rotation through the shoulders, the arms, movement into the wrists, movement into the hands. Lovely. Fantastic. Right, now from here we're just going to move through into warming up the hips and warming up the forward flexion of the spine. So what we're going to do, I'll show you from the side, so I think it's slightly easier possibly to see from the side. Keeping that hip distance apart, make sure the core is contracted, the shoulders back and down, you're standing up nice and tall. And I want you to swan dive down. What I mean by swan dive is bend at your hips and keep the spine long. So swan dive down, and then when you get to the bottom of your kind of flexion, which you're going to feel it in your hamstrings, just allow the head to fall forwards. And then you're going to do a roll up. So by rolling up, what I mean is gradually, one by one by one by one, replacing those vertebrae on top of each other. So Pilates roll up. So it's a swan dive down, let the head come down, and then the arms remain kind of down, relaxed as you're gradually rolling up. So you're getting movement through the hips, and then mobility through the spine, keeping that core on the 30% contraction to protect the back. Now, if you do have any concerns about your back, and actually the rolling up motion doesn't work for you, you can keep with the swan dive down and then swan dive back up, if that works for you. But if the flexion is okay, then work with that. So let the hands flop down, rolling up, rolling up, rolling up. Lovely. And I'll just show you from the front so that you can see. I'm going down centrally. So I've got a straight position, let the head flop down, arms flop down, let the vertebrae come up. We'll just do one more, just one more. Okay, so swan dive, let it fold forwards, and then rolling up. Now from here, I'll take the feet a little bit wider. I'm just going to work through the motion of the pelvis. So I'm aiming to warm up around the hip joint and just get some rotation of the legs and the hip joints. As well, you get some movement through the ankles. And I want you to aim to do maybe 5, 6 in one direction and switch directions. Okay. Lovely. You're just getting really big movement. How far can you get your hips in each direction? Where works for you? Obviously don't do anything that twinges or hurts. But if it's comfy, make that move nice and big. Lovely. So from here, I'll just look at my list. I've always got a list with me, if you know me. Right, okay, and we're going to do a squat down to calf raise up. So squats, you can have the feet slightly wider than they normally be, maybe about as wide as the outside of your hips. Bum goes back and down, bend at the knees. Push the body weight backwards, keep the chest high. So squat down, up onto a toe, so onto a calf raise. So squat the bottom back and down. Now work at your kind of range of motion. Let me show you from the side. So if you don't go so far in a squat, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to get nice and low, please do. And then coming up onto your toes. So there's a little bit of balance involved. But it's more about the strength, flexion of the hips, flexion of the knees, flexion of the ankles, and strength into the calves coming up. Lovely. we should be actually feeling pretty good about moving in most directions and with most of our body. Fantastic. Okay, as you know, my favourite bit, the balance. Okay, so today's balance, we're going to do a little bit of side balancing, kind of side reaching, and we've also got a leg and front one. So let's start. So we're going to work up to our balance. We're just going to be going side to side. I want you to reach to the side and the leg comes out in the other direction. So it's really how far can you get between your fingertips and the opposite leg. Okay. So you're not necessarily, you don't have to point your toes, you can if you want to. I don't really mind actually. Just for balance, if it helps. But it's that stretch. And stretch, lovely. Stretch. Really feeling that movement. So I'm going to the side, trying to keep a fairly long spine. I'm not just twisting over. I've got that nice long spine. Reaching out. And when you're ready, let's hold this one. Let's hold it. Hold it, hold it, hold it. So I'm on a balance. That means my ankle is going all over the place on the floor. That's fine. That's kind of what I want. If you need to hold on to something, do. That's okay. If you need to tap the toe down, do. If you fall out of it, don't worry. Just come back. Just come back. It's all good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Might need to give it a little bit of a pat, a little bit of a rub. Those legs have been working already. We're just going to do a couple side to side, just to keep the blood flowing before we hold it on the other side. Are you ready? Let's go, let's go. So nice and long. Still thinking about the distance between your fingertips and your toes. How long can you make that? The standing leg is soft, the knee is soft. He's probably wobbling around, and that's all good. Core still engaged. So you've got that elevator inside. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, well done. Okay, if you need to move around to get the blood flowing, please do. Okay, and our next one is going to be a knee lift with a kick forwards. So I can show you from the side. Often it's easier to see things from the side in this experience. So standing up nice and tall, got that core contraction, shoulders back and down, and from here, just lift the knee. I don't mind where your hands are. They can be on your hips, maybe a prayer position, maybe high. Not really worried. But the move is extend, release. So I'm working the hip flexors to hold the knee. I am working the quad to lengthen the leg. Okay, if you want to play about with challenging your balance, you do have other arm options available. This is quite a tricky one. If you need to grab onto something, please do. And you know what, if you can't hold your leg that high, that's fine. You can keep it down here. Or if you need to just tap down. If it ends up being something more like this, that's fine. But if you're comfortable, keep that knee high. And again, just play with your arms if you want to. Just trying to keep the core strong and the spine long. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, feeling that. Oh dear, it's good. I love balance, love balance. Right, same thing on the other side, okay? So just get yourself nice and comfy. Hips remaining level on this, okay? So we're not leaning, tilting over. Trying to keep the hips fairly level. So when you're ready, bring the knee up. The standing knee is soft. Okay, we're just going to extend. Oh, I'm wobbling already. Extend, release. So have a play with your arms. See what works for you. This is quite a nice position. This will also work with the top of the shoulders. These nice kind of rounded muscles here called your deltoids. To hold this position. This can be more of a challenge because you're raising where your centre of gravity is, which makes it harder. We could even have them on a pistol at the top. But remember that standing leg is soft. Again, your knee might be higher, it might be lower. You might be tapping down. I'm not too worried. I want you working at your level. Okay, you might want to change. That's fine. Keep going. Nearly there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes! Oh, really feeling those hip flexors, but it's all good. Right, from here we are going to come to the front of our mats and we are going to do our rolling down, rolling up, just to make sure that our spine really is ready for what we're going to do today. So starting in that neutral position, shoulders drawn down, chin high, spine is long, knees are soft, feet hip distance apart from here. Breathe in, engage the core. As you breathe out, tilt the chin, we're just going to peel down. Okay, and we're going to go down a few times as we often do. So there's no rush to get all the way down at the start. Let's just make sure we're really ready for what we're going to do today. So each time you go down, just go maybe an inch or two more. You don't have to follow my pace. Feel free to if you'd like to. But just working at your pace. So each time the vertebrae are restacking one by one, head's the last thing to come up. Go back through neutral, tilt the chin and peel it back down. Your knees can be gently soft. The softer they are, the less of a stretch you're going to feel into the hamstrings. So if they are fairly straight, the hamstrings will get a really nice stretch in the bargain. But it's up to you if that works for you. Making sure you come back through neutral each time. Rolling down. Okay, and I'm hoping by now you're kind of getting towards the end of your range of motion. So next time you get down, just hold it down there for me, please. Just hold it down. So the knees might be soft, they might be reasonably straight. Core is still engaged. Spine is long, head is heavy, arms are heavy. You're just allowing the spine to have a little relax, a little stretch out. Just holding this position. Probably feeling a bit of tension in the hamstrings, chances are. And your hands are wherever they are. For some people, you're going to be fingertips are at your chins. Some people, they might just be reaching the mat. Some people will be flat down. And some people, they'll be way lower than that. There's going to be a real mix. So just coming to the bottom of your comfortable position. Lovely. And when you're ready, just bend into the knees and coming down onto the mat however is comfy for you. If you want to, you can do it through a bend down and just rolling back. You might want to go through all fours, whatever suits. Our first move tonight, we're going to do a leg pull, okay? Which I've not done on these videos before, so you may or may not have done this before, so please listen close, try and keep it safe for you. Okay, it can be quite an intense move, so I'll give you some adaptations. So let's get in a seated neutral position before we start. So feet, knees and hips still hip distance apart, okay? There's no need to lock at the knees, you're just nice and comfortable. What I want you to think about is the pelvic position. So you might naturally be kind of tilting back into it. Try and rock that pelvis forwards so that you've got a neutral pelvis, so that your spine is long, you've not got that kind of curve into the lower back. If you need to, you can have a ball just behind you and just flop off the front, one of the little Pilates squashy balls, or a little cushion behind you, and just sit right on the edge of the cushion, if that helps you to maintain your pelvis in a really comfortable position. But pulling up through the spine, shoulder blades back and down. What I'm going to get you to do is have your hands behind you. Now, depending on your shoulder mobility and things like that, it might be comfier for you to have your fingertips pointing backwards, maybe to the side, and maybe pointing forwards. For me personally, it kind of works best for me to have my fingertips to the sides, but please be guided by your shoulders and wrists and elbows and all those things. Okay, I'm just giving you my suggestions on this one. You need to listen to your body. But I want your hands just a few inches, maybe 4 to 6 inches behind your bum. So you've got a long spine position, but you're gently leaning back into it now, and the shoulders can be drawn down the back. So the move from here, I'm going to build you up from a slightly easier version. Slightly easier version, have one leg bent, and you're going to go into this long position with the body. So as you move up, the hips move up, the body is long, but you're holding some of that weight into the foot and come down. We're going to switch sides. So from here, push into that bent leg if you need to, squeeze the glutes, lengthen through the body, and bring it back down. Okay, and from here, I just want you to bring the hands up towards the ears, and we're going to lean it forward, so curve through the spine, bring the head down. You might want to bring the hands towards holding onto the feet. So we're having a little stretch forwards as well. We're stretching through the length of the spine, you might get a nice little stretch into the hamstrings. But the move is going to be a leg pull, one side, a leg pull the other side. going to stretch forward. And there's no rush into this. So when you're ready, bring it back up into that neutral position, hands behind. Now you can either go back to what we did before, foot down, or if you wish to, the full move would be to have both legs long and squeeze up. And you may want to draw the foot in, take it back, come down, and up. Draw the foot in, take it back, come down, and then hands up. We're going to roll through the spine and reach it forwards. Now when you're reaching forwards, you might need hands on the mat, around your knees, around your shins. I can kind of just about get to my feet. There are certainly a lot more flexible people than me on this. You can get a lot closer with their chest towards their knees. That is not my gift, but you know. Come down to wherever is comfy for you. So if you can get your hands way past your feet, fantastic, go for it. But get that really nice curve through the spine, relax down through the neck. Feel the stretch into the hamstrings, and when you're ready, coming back up, through to neutral, hands just behind, and you can either bend the leg to press up, or use the glutes, strengthen the glutes, draw the leg in, and extend, come down. So I'm working through the core has still got my core contraction going, but it's the glutes working quite hard on this. Back to neutral, and roll it forward, still keeping the core switched on, and just having this nice little stretch. And then coming up, rolling back up through neutral, hands behind. When you're ready, breathe in, switch on the core, breathe out, lift. Draw the leg in, breathe out, extend, come down, breathe out to come up, core still contracted, in, extend, breathe out, come down, through neutral, hands over the top, and you can breathe it out to go down. And just hold it here for a breath or two. I don't normally coach masses of breathing in and out, because I think for the most part, if your body's doing the right thing, and you're moving in the right direction and controlling the muscles in the right way, breath will come when the breath comes. So don't panic. And coming back up through neutral. Okay, breathe in, switch on the core. Breathe out to lift the hips. In for the leg in, out for the leg out. So you're blowing that leg away when it goes away. You've got a lovely long position. Bring it back down. And then taking it down, reaching. So it is quite a strong move, this. Okay, don't forget you've got that option of keeping one foot flat on the ground. Coming back up through neutral. Last time, okay? So breathe in, switch on the core. Breathe out to lift long. In to bring the leg in. Out to get it down. Okay, coming back. And again. Breathe in. And breathe out. Drop the hips, keep the spine long. Holding on around the head and rolling it forwards, reaching forwards, and just holding this position. And releasing, coming back to neutral. Fantastic. Okay, from here, we're going to come down into a shoulder bridge position. So we're going to lie on our backs, get that neutral position on our backs. Now, this is one where I specifically don't want you to have a cushion under your head, even if you normally do for a lot of our lying down exercises. Make sure you've got no cushion for this one, please. So coming into the neutral position, if you want to start with your feet together, take the heels wide and then the toes wide. Hopefully now your feet, knees and hips should be aligned, so really, I can't really see the bottom part of my legs past the top part of my legs from here. The feet are reasonably close in towards the bottom, so I can kind of, if I bring my feet in a bit, just about reach my heels with my fingertips. Okay, we're just going to rock through the pelvis, get that pelvic neutral position. So imagine you've got a pencil on the front of your pelvis and you're just working that pencil, so it's pointing between your knees, pointing up towards your head, and rocking, rolling through it. So you're feeling that lower back, having contact with the floor and then arching. And letting that comes to settle in the middle, in that neutral position. Okay. From here, we're making sure the spine is still long all the way from the tailbone to the top of the head. Just let the ribs release. Let the shoulders release, open out the hands, point them up to the ceiling. Shoulder blades drawn down the back. There should be a really nice big gap between your shoulders and your ears. And the hands pointing up. So you've got this lovely neutral position to start. Make sure you've got your full and wide breathing. So we're starting from a position of calm, from a position of comfort. Breathe in. Imagine that elevator inside you, so you're drawing in the core. As you breathe out, I want you to tilt the pelvis. So tilt the hips underneath and peeling up through the spine. That's my preference with a lot of these kind of moves, that we start just with the basics. Let's get the basics right before we move on. And in some cases, don't move on. Just stay with the basics. It's all good. So each time you're rolling up and down, you roll up and each one of your vertebrae are peeling off the mat gradually. So one by one by one, try and really feel that motion. If you need to do it slowly, to see if you can get really nice mobility in each vertebrae, that's fine. And stick with that if you want to. And as you bring the spine down, the vertebrae lay onto the mat like a string of pearls onto a beach. Lovely. Now if this is working really nicely for you, next time you come up, keep the hips high, squeeze the glutes to push them up, let the arms float over the top, and then peel the spine back down. And when you're back at neutral, you've got that gap under the lower back, and the arms float back. So breathe in, make sure the core is engaged, breathe out, squeeze the glutes, push the hips, roll, 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 the knees are pushing away, you're working through the heels, arms float over, coming back down, arms float back. Okay, if this is still working for you, you want to work a little bit harder. Next time we go up, so taking it up nice and smooth, taking the arms over the top. If you're ready, I want you to take one foot up towards the ceiling and pulse 3 times the hips up. Let that leg come down, other leg up, and it's a squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Leg down, keep those glutes working, and peel the spine back down. The last thing to let go is those glutes. So back to neutral, glutes relax, arms float back over. Okay, reset, make sure your core is still good. Breathe in, engage the core, breathe out, squeeze the glutes. Peeling up, peeling up, peeling up. Float the arms over. Foot tight, so the calf, the foot, the leg is relaxed actually. I'm just working into the glutes. The core is obviously working, as it always is. But the leg itself, I'm not particularly pointing my toes, it's all relaxed. Bring it down, peel down the spine. Let the arms come back. So just reset, just spend a second to reset. Make sure the shoulder blades are still drawn down the back. Spine is still long, I've got this nice long position. Okay? And from here, breathe in, engage the core. Squeeze. Roll it up. Take the arms over the top. Leg up. 2. Squeeze. Bring it down. Still keep those hips high. Don't sag. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Bring it down. Peel it down. I'm a bit sad. My music stopped. Don't know where that's gone. I could start singing for you. I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, we're going to do one more. Okay, so just make sure you're in that good position. Breathe in, switch on the core. Roll it up. Okay, this is going to be the last one of these. Let's make it a really nice one. Float the arms over. Leg up. Hips still level. 2, 3. Leg comes down. Keep the hips high and level. 1, 2, 3. And roll it back down. There we go. And relax. So we're just going to have a little stretch into the glutes. They've worked hard. So take the ankle over to the opposite leg. Draw that leg in. Hold behind the back of the leg. And breathe. Actually, what's beautiful about the music having gone out, I can actually hear birdsong in my back garden, so it's very nice. I wish you could hear it too. And switch sides. So the ankle over the opposite knee, and draw that far leg in. If you want to, you can extend that opposite leg up as well, so I leave it up to you. You should be feeling the stretch kind of in the glutes, so it's in the bent leg, but in the glutes and the outer part of the thigh. Should just feel quite nice. Okay. And release that there. Okay, we're going to come up to a sitting position, so if you want to use one of your legs to give you a bit of momentum to get up, feel free, or get up however works for you. Our next move is going to be the saw. Okay, and in the saw, ideally, you'll have your legs straight and reasonably wide, however is comfy for you. If you need to have a little bit of bend in them, that's okay, that's okay. Work with what you can do, or if, you know what, if it really isn't a great position for you, you can work from cross-legged if you need to, okay? Just get into a comfortable position for you. Ideally though, we're going to be maintaining that kind of neutral long spine. So just have a see if your pelvis can remain neutral and the spine is long. So the saw, we're not going to spend a long time here. We're going to have the arms wide. Breathe in, switch on the core, and as you breathe out, I want you to twist the upper body, keep the hips level, and then rock, 2, 3. As though you're soaring your foot, bringing it back, rock, 2, 3. Bring it back, rock, 2, 3. So you're gently easing forwards and back, keeping the spine long, the shoulders are going round, but the hips remain level. So you're not lifting your bum cheeks, okay? You're trying to maintain that long spine. Now I don't have very much flexion in my lower back, as you can see. So if you can go further and you can maintain that position, fantastic. So just one more each side. 1, 2, 3. And switch sides. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And release it there. And actually I can really feel that into my hamstrings, my hip flexors, excuse me, that position. So not too many of those, but just to give you a bit of a twist in the upper body. Okay. We're going to roll over onto our sides and we're going to do some leg circles. So we've got this long side lying position. So from here, if it's comfy, line your upper arm. If you do want to have a cushion, go grab a quick cushion and put that under your head if your shoulder doesn't really like this side lying position. But if you're good, the ankle, knees and hips are stacked. I want you to gently draw your top leg away towards your feet, and what that's going to do is raise your waist away from the mat. So hopefully, imagine you can just squeeze a little straw underneath your waist. Okay, shoulder blades are still drawn down the back as much as they sensibly can be, given that you're lying on your arm, and the head should be comfortable and neutral. The spine is still long. Okay, from here, just make sure you've got that full and wide breathing. Let's reset ourselves. So full and wide, comfortable breathing. Okay, breathe in, draw in the core, so that elevator inside, and as you breathe out, float that top leg up, not too high. And we're just going to draw circles, and the circles to start with are going to be quite small. They're going to be about the size of a football. Now, this could be a real balance challenge for you. If you need to, have one hand in front for balance. When you've done 4 or 5 in one direction, we're just going to switch directions. And we're just going to alternately do kind of 4 or 5 in each direction as we're switching. Okay. Now if you want to work a little bit harder with your balance, and this actually feels okay, you can have the arm along the leg, or alternately you can have it pointing up towards the ceiling. Don't forget to keep switching directions. I will try and remind you. But what I want you to think about is still keep that top hip gently eased away. So you've got that gap under your waist, don't forget to change directions. So you've got that gap under your waist, your spine is long, your shoulder blades are drawn down your back. Keep changing, so just 4 or 5 each way. This lovely long position, and you might want to just start increasing a little bit the size of the circles, switch directions. The larger the circles get, the more of a challenge it is on your balance. There is no rush on this, there's no particular speed with which I want you to draw these circles. You should be feeling it really in this outer thigh. I'm certainly feeling this. But it's all good. And the top leg is floppy, foot's floppy, calf's floppy. Still pushing that top hip away. Just one more in each direction, one more set. So I don't know about you, it feels like my top leg's about to drop off. Okay, one more set in the other direction. Everything's relaxed. 3, 2, 1, yay! Rest it there, give it a good rub. And they really do work into this outside of the leg. And they're working because you've got such a long lever. You've got a long lever, your full leg is working there. So give it a rub if you want to, give it a pat. It's all good. Okay, and we'll give it a little quad stretch. So holding on to the shoelace area of the foot. You might want to bend the bottom leg for balance. You can put the knee, the top knee kind of pointing straight away from you, pushing the hips forward, pushing the foot in towards the hand, so you're getting a gap between the bottom and the heel. Wonderful. I'm just enjoying that. Because next we are going on to all fours. So when you're ready, release that. I'm going to rock over onto all fours. I'm going to apologise before we start. We've got press-ups. Now, I do love a press-up actually, but not everybody does. If this is something which isn't great on your wrists, just think about there are ways that you can make that more comfy. You might want to do this on fists. What works for me sometimes, because I don't have brilliant wrists, but if you have hand weights or kind of cans of beans that you can rest your hands onto, that can reduce the pressure into your wrist. So just think about that. You might want to try it tonight. You might want to think about it for next time we do something like a press up. But if it's comfy to do so, let us start finding neutral on all fours. So again, feet, knees and hips aligned, okay, and we're going to rock through the pelvis. So now you're tucking under and over. Again, imagine that pencil on the front of the pelvis, just rocking forwards and backwards, so just pointing towards the feet, pointing under the head. Rocking, 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 rocking. And coming to settle, so you've got a small arch into the lower back. Now again, think about pulling along through the spine. So what we're going to do in this move is we're going to interlace push-ups with downward dogs. So if you find push-ups a real nightmare, just do 1 or 2 and then spend longer in the downward dog, and that's absolutely fine, okay? We're going to do more chest dominant push-ups. So I'm going to ask you actually, unusually, to have your hands wider than your shoulders. I'm still going to ask you to draw the shoulder blades down back. So imagine screwing your hands into the floor. In reality, your middle fingers are still pointing up above your head direction, but you're imagining screwing those little fingers out to the side, and that will draw your shoulder blades down your back. You've got a nice long spine. So follow my breathing. Breathe in, engage the core. As you breathe out, just bend at the elbows, let the chest come down, the nose comes towards the mat. And squeeze, and that squeeze is at the front of the chest, almost drawing the elbows in towards each other. So it's going to be 3 press-ups. And then at the end of the third, I'll get you to tuck your toes. You might want to just bring your hands a little bit narrower. As you drive the hips up, straighten through the legs, and we'll go through downward dog. And if you wish to, you can do what's called walking the dog, where you alternately let the heels go down towards the mat. So I've got a lovely long spine. So tailbone to the top of the spine is nice and long. Then you might want to settle that there. Let the heels drop down towards the mat. The knees may be gently soft. But you get a stretch into the shoulders, a stretch down the back of the legs. And when you're ready, you come back down to all fours. Now, let me give you some options on this press up. As well as having the hands wide, you've got a choice of how hard these press ups are going to be. If you want to make them harder on your chest, lengthen your lever, your straight line down to your knees. You can stay in that all four position if you prefer, but when you're ready, breathe in, engage the core, breathe out, go down, in to come up, out to go down. And the bottom position, your shoulder is in line with your elbows. You don't need to bend so that shoulder's going all the way down. So we've done 3, hands drop in, so back to all fours really, hands drop in, tailbone up, straight through the legs. And again, if you wish to, you just walk through it a bit or just hold this position. Now, I'm not expecting you to follow my timing. If you want to spend longer in downward dog, do. If you want to spend more time in the push-ups, do, okay? This is for you to be a little bit listening to your body. Okay, we've worked through to the long position. If you're still going and you're still comfy, let's take it to a full press up. So full press up, you start in that plank position, long all the way top of the head to the heels. You go down, core is still engaged, nice and long, squeeze at the front to come up, and squeeze. Okay, coming back to all fours, neutral position, drive up the hips, going into that downward dog. Spine is long, core still contracted. So you've got that drawing in of the elevator inside the body, legs are long. Okay, so I've given you 3 intensity levels for your press up. Where are you at? Choose where you want to go. We're doing 3 more when you're ready. So even in this position, my shoulder blades are drawn down my back. There is a good gap between my ears and my shoulders. Coming back to all fours, tuck the toes, drive up the hips. Lovely, and this should feel quite a nice little relax in the middle. And we're going to do one more set. So 3 more press-ups, that's all I'm asking for. Choose your position, I don't mind where you're at. When you're ready, core is working. To hold this long position. And back to all fours, last downward dog. So all fours, push hips up, head down. Just stretch it here. Lovely. And coming down, and we're going to work now through child's pose. So just push the hips down, bum towards the feet. Let the hands either fall in front, or if you want to rest into the shoulders, just pull the hands down by the feet and just relax. You might find it comfier to have your hands under your forehead. If you don't like having your face planted into the mat, that's fine. You're just resting it here. Just enjoying the release into the lower back, allowing that stretch there. Okay, and coming back up to all fours, finding that neutral all fours position, where you might just want to rock through the pelvis again. Next move's a nice stretch. Just going to go for some thread the needle, okay? So from that neutral position, still got the core contraction. When you're ready, take one hand, thread it underneath the other, bend that hand that's down, so bend the arm, just allow the weight to rest into the head and on the shoulder. Trying to twist the chest round, and from here, take the arm up, take the hand all the way up towards the ceiling if you can, so the chest is fully rotated. And we'll go through again. There's no particular rush. If you want to hold one of the positions at one end or both, that's fine. We'll do 3 on each side. That's it. And taking it back down, right under, and up. That's That's it, working it through. So the chest is really rotating. You're finding, whilst the hips are not rotating so much, getting that rotation through the thoracic spine, through that real chest area of the spine. Oh, what have I done 3? Might be doing 4 on this side. I've got distracted. 3 sides. I am easily distracted. Okay. Open out. Lovely. So really working through this movement, allowing yourself a shoulder stretch at the bottom, opening out at the top, and the other side. You're doing really well, guys. That's one. And release it there. Okay, we're going to go down back to that side lying single leg circles. So I'm going to whiz over to the other side so you can still see me. So get that side lying, just kick lump out of my mat. Get that side lying neutral position, ankles, knees and hips are stacked. Gently push that top hip away. The spine is long, the shoulder blades are drawn down. So there's a nice gap between the shoulder and the ear. Okay, when you're ready, full on wide breathing. Breathe in, draw in the core, so you've got that elevator inside, draw it in. And as you breathe out, float the top leg. We'll just start with those smaller circles. The bottom of the leg, well, all the leg really is quite floppy. I'm working into this side muscle, this abductor muscle at the side of the leg, keeping the hips stacked. So if you want to, you can thread the top arm behind your back if that's comfy. Don't forget to keep changing direction every 4 or 5. Trying to relax the upper body as much as you can. And again, thinking about your balance, it might feel different on this side. You might need that extra support with the hand in front. Right, so you might feel better. You might have used it before and not need it this time, so have a play. Maybe try with the arm along the side of the leg. Try and smooth that movement, or you might want the arm nice and high. Remember to keep changing directions. And keeping that top leg just relaxed. And it's floating. See if you can make that move really smooth. Don't forget to change direction. See if you can make it really smooth. It's quite easy for this to end up being quite jerky because you're constantly having to think about your balance. This big long lever that you're trying to control. You don't necessarily, not normally drawing circles with your legs, so it's an unnatural movement in that sense. It's not a move that you would normally perform. We're quite used to doing forwards and back and less about drawing circles. Switch direction. And we'll just do a few now, make them a little bit bigger. So you're trying to control that the spine remains long, so as the leg goes behind you, if it goes as it edges behind you, it's not through kind of overextension of the back. The back is relaxed and long. And as the movement gets a bit bigger as well, you're not tending to let your hips tilt forwards or back. Still being maintained. Straight up, straight down. We've still got that gentle emphasis on pushing the top hip away to maintain this little gap under the waist. Should be feeling it now. I certainly am. Okay, and again, switch. Nearly there. We'll just switch directions one more time. Switch and go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay! Rest it there. Give it a rub, give it a pat. Lovely. Get the blood flowing. Do whatever you need to do. And we will have that quad stretch that we had on the other side. Okay, so you might want to bend that bottom leg for balance. But push the hip forwards. Push the shoelace area of the foot into the hand. Keeping the gap between the bottom and the heel. And the knee should be pointing kind of directly away from you, pointing directly away from your head. Get a lovely stretch down the front of the thigh with that big quad muscle, or group of muscles. Wonderful. Lovely. Now our next move is on our back again. So if we roll over onto our back, we're nearly there, guys. We are nearly there. Keep powering through, you're doing well. So we're getting that neutral position again. Because it's not a shoulder bridge, if you do normally have a cushion, you can chuck that behind your head. If you're comfortable without, that's absolutely fine. I don't tend to use one myself, so you don't need a cushion for this if you don't normally have one. We'll just get that neutral position. So take the heels out, take the toes out, let the knees follow. So it's all nice and aligned. It's not going to be a shoulder bridge, so you don't need the feet particularly close in. So they're a little bit further out than a shoulder bridge position. We'll rock through the pelvis to get that neutral spine position and let it come to settle. So there's a small gap under your lower part of your back. Shoulder blades drawn down, spine is long, nice big gap between the shoulders and the ears. Hands will naturally point up. We're going to do a single leg stretch. So breathe in, switch on the core, and as you breathe out, you're just going to float one leg out and blow that leg away. Breathe in to bring it back. Blow that leg away. Breathe in to bring it back. So far this is nice, calm, controlled. The upper body is totally relaxed. Trying to maintain that hip level position. Got the gap under the lower back. Now if you want to switch the core on just a little bit more, imagine the leg that's down. You just need to lift it enough to take a piece of paper out from underneath. Oh, that's all you need to do. Just that very, very light touch. Imagine you've got some really thin sheet ice under that foot that you don't want to break. And you just blow the leg away. Breathe in to bring it back. Breathe out, leg away. Breathe in to bring it back. So if you would like to, we can also bring the arms into this movement. I'm going to give you some different levels. So if this is working for you like this, stick with this. If you want to, instead of imagining this other leg lifted, bring it up, okay, and you're extending from here. It's not moving, so the other leg is not moving. You've just got one leg going. Okay, and if you want to, you can also raise the arms and take the opposite arm away and bring it back. So opposite arm. The core should really be working. Focus on maintaining that gap under the lower back. Shoulder blades still drawn down. Just a couple more. Okay, and from here, bring one leg down, bring the other leg down. Okay, rest. We've only done one side. I do know this, okay? If you're thinking, she's mad, she's only done one, I'm going to be uneven. I know, it's all good, it's all good. Okay, but let's just release into that hip flexor. So bring the knee in towards the chest. Just release. You might want to extend the other leg away. But that hip flexor has worked super hard. So now you know what's coming on the other side. We'll try and make it as even as we can. Okay, so bring ourselves back to our neutral position, small gap under the lower back, spine is long. When you are ready, breathe in, switch on the core. As you breathe out, it's the other leg that's floating up. Okay, and we're going to start where we were last time. So blow the leg away, breathe out the leg to go away. In to bring it back. Okay. Out to go away. In to bring it back. So it's a nice, slow, controlled, smooth movement. And as we said before, if you want to switch on the core that little bit more, imagine this leg that's stationary is just away from the floor, ever so slightly, and you suddenly feel everything kicking in around here. You still have that core contraction, but now you're really making it work hard. So you're still blowing the leg away, bringing it back in. Now, if this is still feeling good, and you're like, you know, I'm ready for this, I'm ready. Okay, next time your knee comes in, float the other one up. Maintain this one stationary. Lengthen and release. Lengthen and bring it back. And if this is still feeling good, you want to try those arms again. Bring them up, and it's opposite arm and leg. So you're working kind of across the body. Still maintaining that gap under your lower back. Still drawing the shoulder blades down. Working at whatever level. You should be doing whatever worked for you. If you didn't want to have both legs up, that's fine. You could have it that you're doing the arms and one leg, and that's perfect. Or you might want to try this version. And you might want to give this version a try for 2 or 3 and say, do you know what, that's enough tonight. That's enough, I'm going to rest. It's all good. So still maintaining lovely level hips. So looking at you from the back, it's very difficult to know which arm and leg are moving because the shoulders are still drawn down, the hips remain level. Okay, just 2 more. The last one, can we do it? Yay! Okay, bring one leg down, bring the other leg down. Awesome. Let's release that hip flexor, it deserves it. Lovely work. And that was our last working exercise. So it's all good from here, it's all stretching. Don't fret. It's all stretching. You can breathe. Okay, so if we release this, we're just going to lengthen out, straighten out this leg, have a little hamstring stretch. So depending on your flexibility, you might be able to hold behind the back. As always, if you have something like a belt, you can loop it around your foot and use that to help. You might want to just grab a little bit higher. Try and keep this high leg straight, and the other leg, it's quite good to be extended along the floor. Okay, release that. We'll switch sides. Let's bring the other leg in, straighten out, and extend along the floor. Lovely. Got a lovely stretch down the back of the hamstring. I do love a hamstring stretch. I think it's fantastic, and it does wonders for my back actually, doing these hamstring stretches. Really helps, so might make a difference. Never know. Okay, release that there. We're just going to bring the legs together, bring the heels of the feet together, let the knees flop out to the sides, just opening out through the inner thighs. Might be comfy for you to have the feet slightly further away, slightly closer in towards your bottom, just whatever works, okay? Whatever's comfy. If you're really flexible, you got your knees flat on the floor. I've never made it yet. Never know, maybe one day. And you can use the hands just to help the knees come back in together. Rolling up to a seated position, so you're going to grab onto a leg to help you with that. And we're going to do a little chest stretch. So taking the hands behind you, opening out through the chest, draw the shoulder blades together and down, looking up towards the ceiling. And squeezing the shoulder blades at the back. Really feel that chest opening. You probably want this after those press-ups. They are really good for you. They're really hard, but they're really good. Okay, and release that. We'll just have a little shoulder stretch here, so you might want to cross your legs. I find it nice and comfy to do that. Just draw the arm across the body, let the shoulder relax down away from you. You're holding either above or below the elbow. And just bringing the arm in towards the body. And release that. Lovely. Okay, coming over onto all fours, slowly but surely, tuck the toes, straighten through the legs, gradually rolling up through the spine. The last thing to come up is the head. And coming back to our lovely standing neutral position, a couple of big breaths in, and one more. And thank you so much for sharing the last hour with me. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like it, please share it, let me know. It's a pleasure as always, and I do hope to see you again next week. Okay? See you soon, bye!